Hey folks, thanks for joining us today. I'm Emma Schmit, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm an organizer with Food and Water Watch based in Rockwell City, which I'm sure you know all about, given that the birth of esteemed mathematician Hubert Stanley Wall in 1902 happened to be born in this very town. But on the slight chance you don't know, Rockwell City is located in northwest Iowa within the Raccoon River watershed.
And I'm Caitlin, pronouns she, her. I'm a member of the Clean Water Action Team at Iowa CCI. I'm from Norris Springs, which is in north central Iowa.
We're hopping on today to chat about Iowa's water. In case you missed it, our very own Raccoon River was included in the 2021 list of most endangered rivers. So we wanted to take a little bit of time to spill all the tea about the list and what it means in our fight for clean water.
That's right. The Most Endangered Rivers list is an annual report that is released by American Rivers. And luckily, we had the chance to sit down with Olivia Dorothy from American Rivers last week to have a chat.
Thank you so much for joining us. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your position at American Rivers?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So my name's Olivia Dorothy, and I'm the director of the Upper Mississippi River Basin Program at American Rivers. I am based out of the Quad Cities. I live in East Moline, Illinois, with my family and 2 kids and cat who might join us later today.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Olivia. So what's up with the Most Endangered Rivers list? What is it, and why is it an important tool that organizations like ours can use?
Yeah, so American Rivers, we're a national nonprofit river conservation organization. Our vision is a nation of clean water and healthy rivers for everyone, everywhere. To accomplish this vision, we work to protect wild rivers, restore damaged rivers, and conserve clean water for people and nature. And our most endangered rivers list, which we release every April, is a list of America's 10 most endangered rivers. And these rivers are nominated by individuals and community organizations, and even sometimes other large environmental organizations across the nation to bring attention to rivers that are at a turning point in terms of health and ecosystem needs and function.
That is great to hear. Can you also just share with us how American Rivers kind of picks the rivers each year? And obviously, since we're here talking about the Raccoon River, can you share just maybe what stood out about its nomination?
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to share that information. So every year we select our 10 most endangered rivers. And this is not a list of America's most polluted rivers. So we use 3 criteria when we select rivers for the most endangered rivers list. The first criteria is that we look at the magnitude of the threat, especially in the era of climate change. We look at whether or not there is a decision within the next 12 months that the public can influence to improve the health of that river and the communities that depend on it. And we also look at the river's significance to people and wildlife. And so when we saw the Raccoon River's nomination come into our office, we really thought like, wow, this really hits all of these criterias. And so we couldn't not put it on the list. The Raccoon River is threatened by increasing agricultural pollution, which is being exacerbated by climate change fueled drought. So we're putting more pollution from nitrogen fertilizer and manure onto the landscape. It is washing off, more of that is washing off in climate change fueled storms into the Raccoon River. And then in the summers, we're seeing longer periods of drought, which is concentrating that pollution in the Raccoon River. And so we know that there is a very significant problem with water quality in the Raccoon River. The Raccoon River is also a drinking water source for over 500,000 people. And so this makes the river extremely significant to communities because it is such an important source of life-giving water. The Raccoon River also flows into the Mississippi River. And the Mississippi River has a very significant nutrient pollution problem. We know that every year the Gulf of Mexico dead zone is gradually growing in size, and this is threatening the life and livelihood of fishers down in the Gulf of Mexico, because it definitely impacts the catch and how far out people have to take their boats to get to healthy fishing grounds. And so it's, the pollution that we are seeing originating in Iowa and in Illinois, where I live, we see that is getting worse and worse year after year. Even with all the voluntary strategies, even with the nutrient reduction plan in place, instead of seeing those trends get better, we're just seeing them get worse and worse. And so, that brings us to our last criteria, is how can people influence the outcome of this river this year? And American Rivers, we really feel like it is time for the Environmental Protection Agency to step up and start enforcing its regulations to protect the drinking water source of Des Moines and to protect fish and wildlife in the Raccoon River and in watersheds and rivers throughout the upper Midwest that are all suffering from these types of issues. And so, that's why we really felt that the Raccoon River was an ideal candidate to be listed on America's Most Endangered Rivers list.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today, Olivia. Thank you for partnering with us to nominate the Raccoon River in 2021's Most Endangered Rivers list.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was great. I haven't seen such quality content since movie legend Kevin Bacon starred in the classic 1990s film Tremors. What a hit.
I couldn't agree more. We are super excited to be partnering with Olivia and American Rivers and to keep the spotlight this year on the Raccoon River, as well as the water crisis that we're seeing across our state.
For sure. With over 750 impaired waterways and tens of thousands of contaminated private wells, we can't continue allowing industrial agricultural practices to destroy our water quality. We've spent years sounding the alarm about factory farm pollution and its impact on our natural resources. With 500,000 Iowans dependent on the Raccoon River for clean drinking water, we have to act. Unfortunately, Iowa's leadership has failed to meaningfully address our water quality crisis.
That's right, but fortunately, we are relentless. Our elected officials and their big ag cronies might not take this issue seriously, but we do. And we won't stop fighting until our right to clean water is upheld. Over the past few years, we have gone head to head with big ag on the local level, down at the State House, and in the courts. Now, we're looking to take our fight for clean water to the EPA.
That's right, we're taking it to the top. We plan to use the Most Endangered Rivers announcement to meet with the new administration of the EPA. We are urging them to step in and hold polluters accountable. Iowa is not a sacrifice zone. It's time for these multi-billion-dollar agribusinesses and factory farm industry fat cats to clean up their own mess.
And it's time we quit wasting time with false solutions to fix our water quality. We know what common sense measures must be taken to curb the toxic pollution of our waterways.
Exactly. We know the answers our opponents and their followers point to aren't true solutions to this problem. Politicians like Iowa's Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Naig, have been bought out by Big Ag, like to push out propaganda uplifting solutions such as the voluntary nutrient reduction strategy, which has allowed polluters to keep polluting while our tax dollars are wasted picking up after them. Repeating a lie doesn't make it true. The voluntary nutrient reduction strategy has been a complete and utter failure. If we're relying on it to protect our waterways, we might as well sit back and relax, because we'll be waiting for hundreds, if not thousands of years to see any meaningful change. If we want clean water in our lifetime, we need to stop exacerbating the situation by building new factory farms. Iowa's cropland is already used as a dumping ground for more than 72 billion pounds of manure every year. Manure containing everything from E. coli and antibiotics to nitrogen and phosphorus, which runs off the land and into our water, fueling hazardous circumstances for anyone or anything that wants to swim, fish, or drink the water. If we want clean water, we need to invest in mandatory nutrient reduction strategy that incentivizes environmental protection while holding bad actors accountable. We need an intervention, and we need the EPA to lead it. Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig might not care if Iowans have clean water. Iowa DNR Director Kayla Lyon might not care if Iowans have clean water. Governor Reynolds certainly doesn't care if Iowans have clean water. But we do. And we won't be steamrolled by a bunch of industry con artists.
You said it, Emma. I definitely care about our Iowa clean water, whether it's taking out my inflatable boat to catch baby turtles, watching my family's dogs drink from the river, or the well water that my family uses to wash their dishes and bathe in. I want to have the peace of mind knowing that myself and the people that we care about are not being poisoned by bacteria, nitrates, and other pollution in our water. But we can't win this fight without your help. We're going to post a link in the comments, or you can copy it down from the ticker at the bottom of this video. It's going to take you to a page where you can read the Most Endangered Rivers report about the Raccoon River and direct you on how you can contact the EPA about Iowa's water crisis.
That's right. It'll only take a few seconds to send a message to the EPA, but it has a huge impact. The EPA might refuse to act if it's just me asking or if it's just Caitlin urging, but the power of all of us united together cannot be ignored. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out.
Indeed. Thanks for joining, and until next time.